Well, good evening. Welcome to Foundations of Biblical Greek. This evening we're going to be translating 1 Peter verse 4 of chapter 1. And it's just part of a sentence, but there's kind of some interesting things going on here in the Greek, and there's also just some great truth involved in this short phrase in 1 Peter 1:4. So what we'll do is we'll read it. We will parse the words to see how they're functioning grammatically within the sentence. We'll take a look at some syntactical structures and make some comments there, and then we will make an English translation. So let's start out here, up here at the top, and just read through this. Eis kleranamian, aphtharton, kai amianton, kai amaranton, tete remenen en uranois eis humas. So if we go through and start parsing these words here, we start up here at the top. Eis kleranamian is a prepositional phrase. Our preposition here is eis, and it is modifying, or it is taking an accusative object. So the object of the preposition is kleranamian, and it is accusative singular feminine. Then we have an interesting structure here. We have three adjectives that are modifying our kleranamian up here, and we have aphtharton, which is accusative singular feminine. We have kai as a conjunction. We have amianton, which is another adjective that is accusative singular feminine. Kai, another conjunction. Then amaranton is another adjective, which is also accusative singular feminine. Then we have tete remenen, which is a participle, and it is a perfect passive participle. And it is also accusative singular feminine. Then we have another prepositional phrase, en uranois, en being our preposition. The object of the preposition is dative, and uranois is dative plural masculine. Then we finish off with another prepositional phrase, eis humas. Eis is our preposition, which is modifying, or its object is accusative. Humas is a second person personal pronoun, and it is accusative plural. Remember, first person and second person personal pronouns do not decline according to gender. So there we have our parsing to see kind of what's going on with each word grammatically within this phrase, within this passage. So let's make a few syntactical observations. We have a prepositional phrase here, which we already mentioned. And then we have these three adjectives that are all modifying kleranamian. And the interesting thing here that that we need to make is the alpha privative that is present in all three of these. Alpha privative is another way that Greeks negate words. So basically, this is just another way to say not. Okay, so that'll be important when we come back to do our translations here in a minute, and also just to remember that these are all adjectives. Okay, so then down to our perfect passive participle here, tete remenen. couple of things that we need to point out here. Because it's perfect, we see that this is functioning in the completed aspect. And also it's passive, that it's passive in its voice. And this will also be important as we do our translation. Then we have two prepositional phrases, which we already mentioned. So I think from that we can get a fairly accurate English translation if we go back through this. Eis is the prepositional word for. Kleironimein is inheritance. And it's anarthros, and so we're gonna add a helping word there in the English, and inheritance. Then we have aphtharton, which is actually phtharton is the word for perish or perishable. But remember, we have this alpha privative here, which negates the word. So, in a very literal sense, that word is not perishable. I think most translations, most English translations, use the word imperishable. Instead of saying not perishable, both are right, but imperishable is probably cleaner English. Then we have kai, which is our conjunction for the word and, linking these adjectives together. Mionton, once again, we have an alpha privative, but if we were to look at mionton, is the word for defiled, but it's negated by the alpha privative, so we have not defiled. Our second kai, linking these adjectives, and we have a maronton. Maronton is the word fading, with the alpha privative is not, so it's negating those. So you can kind of see how that works. Then our participle, teteremenein. Two things to keep in mind as we translate this is that it's completed aspect, because it's perfect, and passive voice. And what we have here is, it's from the word tereo, which means I keep. But with the completed aspect, it is an action that has been completed, but has ongoing implications for that action in the future. And so it's completed aspect, and so we would use this, or we would translate this somehow with using the word being kept. And the other thing that we need to point out is that it's passive, meaning that we are the recipients of the keeping. We ourselves are not doing the keeping. If it was active voice, then we would be the ones producing the action. But we are recipients because this is in the passive voice. So we are being kept, and we're receiving that keeping. En uranois, our prepositional phrase, is in heaven. Eis humas, for you. So if we were going to go back through and read this phrase, it's not a complete sentence. We would start up here. For an inheritance not perishable, and not defiled, and not fading, being kept in heaven for you. And what a great truth this is, that our inheritance is being kept for us, and it is not perishable, not defiled, and not fading away like the treasures of this earth, but instead they are being kept for us in heaven. So there you have 1 Peter 1:4.